You're bleeding, so to speak, sexual fluid every single day. You're bleeding every single day. Think about that. Meditate on that idea for just a moment. So I've been thinking a lot about the subject matter that I discuss often in this channel, and I came across a chapter in the Bliss of the Celibate titled The Male Period. Now, before you're too quick to judge me, I want us to just meditate on this idea for just a moment. Now, what do we know about the female period, first of all? Well, they experience it once every month, and with that weekly, or however long it manifests itself, period, pardon the pun, we expect it to be accompanied with some of the more negative emotions: agitation, emotionally compromised, anxiety, stress, depression, mood swings. You get the picture. Now, the premise that I want to share with you this afternoon, this evening, is the male orgasm affects him in the same way that the menstrual period affects the woman. I just want you to sit with that information for just a moment here, and perhaps as you begin to unpack that idea, some of it starts to make a little bit of sense. In the same way, the symptoms that I have divulged to you in terms of what a female experiences when she bleeds every month, you can draw parallels and find congruent feelings with how we feel post-ejaculation. We may be prone to the same critical moods: lack of concentration, impatience, withdrawal, don't want to interact socially with other people. Some individuals may experience disgust at their sexual experience, their sexual encounter, which I find particularly valid after a rather questionable one-night stand, for example. Now, the French, interestingly enough, go even further, and they describe orgasm as la petite mort, which also stands for the little death. Why is this important to know? Well, the French are aware and have a more socially accepted idea of that feeling that is occupied when a man ejaculates. Now, if we are going to accept my initial premise, if we're going to accept this idea as fact, and I'm not saying it is, but I just want us to imagine for just a moment, because I think you can argue it. I think there's strong arguments for it. What's particularly insipid about this idea is that men are not limited to the amount of orgasms that they can experience in a month, but women are limited to the amount of periods they have. They have one per month. Now, if this is the case, we understand that women lose vital biological fluid only once per month, but men, hey, we are free to spill our sexual energy as many times as we like, and once more if it doesn't hurt too much. Why is this dangerous? Well, the narrative that a lot of you will find on this channel, and you will find with me, and some other of my friends and colleagues, is that sexual energy is extremely potent and extremely powerful. It is your divine masculine energy, your creative energy, and many of us not privy to this knowledge only believe that sexual energy can be used solely for generating life. There is a few and secular group of us who understand that not only can sexual fluid be used for generation, but regeneration. Regeneration, the fact that we can supplement enormous health benefits by retaining this fluid, by practicing sexual abstinence. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the PMO cycle, which is a a terminology used in the nofap and the semen retention community that stands for porn, masturbation, orgasm. And the reason I bring it up is if there is a weaponized aspect of our culture that is so detrimental to the reality, which I have laid out quite clearly in front of you, that we have divine creative energy within us, then the PMO cycle it has to be the height of tyranny against us conserving this sacred energy. Social media is geared up in such a way that it provokes us and it monopolizes and commodifies our sexual energy through the many mediums that I've mentioned before, like TikTok, Instagram, and then into more pernicious examples like OnlyFans and Pornhub and etc, 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 all under the guise of selling you some kind of sexual liberation, but in fact it is crippling you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and in some cases financially. Back to this idea that if men are constantly releasing our sexual energy, and if again we're going to tie this back to the initial premise of this video, is that the reason why you are depressed, the reason why men are just derping through life, blundering, bumping into walls, you have no direction, no drive, no energy, is because you're all in a chronic state of PMS. You're bleeding, so to speak, sexual fluid every single day. You're bleeding every single day. Think about that. Meditate on that idea for just a moment. Of course, this is quite a dramatic example, but I believe it holds weight. I believe it holds significant weight, and that's why I'm sharing it with you today. And in fact, the author, I don't have his name actually here, of Bliss of the Celibate, also felt that this was particularly relevant and that he should share this information with as many men as possible. Now, I didn't want to make this video too long because I just wanted us to consider the morality, and not just the morality, but the health of our physical body, mental body, emotional body, in relation to the respect and let's say values that we have on our sexual energy. Because I believe it is the height of human ignorance to not believe that your sexual energy is sacred, that it's not worth something, that it deserves more than a crusty sock. And if you are a proponent of that same narrative, my friends, then you're in the right place. So I think I'll conclude on that point. If you subscribe to anything of what I've said this auspicious evening, then subscribe to my channel and I will bring you again something very unique quite soon. Take care.